Oh boy, this poor old haggard intel agency connected lady really isn't doing too well.
Just listen to your constituents. Hear what they have to say about what it means to their physical well-being.
As she is absolutely pissed off tonight, especially with the major moves that Congress made, along with hundreds of other intel agency assets that were just fired under this new Trump administration. As in this particular video, I want to talk about the larger significance of this larger milestone move that really does signal larger battles at the helm of this Trump administration between them and the intel agencies. I want to go over the long kind of history of them going back and forth with each other all the way back in 2016. There's probably a larger battle that happened beforehand, but clearly now we're living in extremely interesting times right now as the memes are epic, but so is Trump 2.0, because we're not dealing with the same Trump like we did in 2016. 2016 Trump tried to play nice. 2016 Trump tried to give people the benefit of the doubt. Now he has put a lot of key people in positions of power that were at odds previously with the intel agencies. You know, individuals like Tulsi Gabbard, that is now his new DNI head. The same Tulsi Gabbard that was, of course, hunted down as a terrorist. And of course, every time she tried to fly, she had to deal with extraordinary security measures. Why? Because the government flagged her as someone who could be potentially a danger to this country, when in reality, she's a vet. Why did they do that? Why did they go after her? Why did they put her on watch lists when she was a member of the government beforehand? Well, she exposed a lot of the wrongdoings of what the government was doing, specifically the CIA pet project that was going on in Syria, that the intel agencies had a vendetta against her afterwards, since she clearly exposed how the intel agencies were arming, aiding, and abetting some of the worst, most horrible monsters on the face of the earth that were literally creating these crazy videos, torturing people, and then using it as a form of psychological warfare, all out of the CIA playbook for some strange reasons. As now, very strange how all of those things were very similar to what we have seen other CIA-connected organizations kind of do, especially with their kind of reign of terror. But now, Tulsi Gabbard specifically just went on Fox News a couple minutes ago and announced that, all of the intel agencies that were a part of their online group chat that was Intelink, that was supposed to be used only for government services, but activists and woke people and leftists and liberals within the intel agencies hijacked it and used it to discuss their fetishes and kinks, and also their other kind of larger debaucherous behavior. All of those people that on the government dime were getting off one way or another, as we have Tupperfield saying, when they said government jobs came with benefits, they weren't kidding, describing this particular story that Christopher Rufo broke just a couple days ago, as Tulsi Gabbard now is officially responding to people within the government using their own dime, using our own dime on our own time to get their rocks off in a public chat room about some of the weirdest, most strangest things that we can't even mention here on this particular platform. Well, Tulsi Gabbard has a very special message to all of those intel agencies and assets that were a part of this larger kind of weird, deprived behavior. And here she is.
Thank you, Jesse. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you, too. Not so good to see some of these transgender sex chats among the intel officials. What are we going to do about that?
Well, Jesse, what we're going to do has already been done. There are over 100 people from across the intelligence community that contributed to and participated in this, what is really just an egregious violation of trust, what to speak of like basic rules and standards around professionalism. I put out a directive today that they all will be terminated and their security clearances will be revoked. But the thing here, Jesse, is we got to take a step back, because this is just barely scratching the surface. When you see what these people were saying, and thanks to Chris Rufo for putting it all out online, they were brazen in using an NSA platform intended for professional use to conduct this kind of really horrific behavior.
Now imagine what they're doing behind the scenes. If they're so flippant, if they're so braggadocious, if they're so proud of this larger kind of debaucherous behavior that they're doing on your own dime, that they're doing when they're supposed to be working for the government, imagine what they are doing privately. As again, this is something that journalists are breaking. Why isn't the Trump administration looking into all of this? Why aren't they breaking this story? Why are journalists having to, of course, discover this when it should be now this new government looking into all of this? As the woke intel agencies, obviously, we're into some weird, kinky stuff, as Mike Cernovich points out, and Elon Musk says it's likely that these people probably were also connected to things that were much worse than just personal kinks, as there's also some larger accusations, specifically from Mike Cernovich, how some of this could have been connected to child trafficking as well, since, you know, the intel agencies have a track record of aiding and abetting, or just simply absolutely not doing their job when victims of child trafficking come to them. And they have done that on multiple instances now. So Mike Cernovich is making the connection, saying, hey, I bet you once we start looking into the deeper kind of chats here that there's probably something related to children in here, which he is theorizing. Now, of course, we haven't got any kind of official confirmation if that is the particular case here. But with the way that things are going, it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case here. So shouts out to Christopher Rufo, who says, got to know the national security state is being run by competent, mentally stable Americans, highlighting this larger kind of weird political ideology that Trump is absolutely at odds with. I want to talk about this kind of long, extensive battle between Trump and this deep state, between these intelligence agencies. Before I do, I want to tell you about lookunfiltered.com. If you haven't signed up for it yet, what are you doing? It's quick, it's easy, it's simple, it's 20 cents a day. You get to directly talk to me. I was just talking to members in the Telegram chat. You get to, of course, see videos. I just released a 40, I think it's an hour-long video with me talking to someone who has a particular expertise into one large conspiracy that is absolutely fascinating. I took this person out that was recently on the Joe Rogan podcast. We went out and got steaks, and we ate steaks, talked about food, but most importantly, talked about the larger kind of deeper down the rabbit hole stuff that is now only available for members of lookunfiltered.com. That's the type of content, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, that only you will be getting by signing up and becoming members. Tomorrow, we are baking pies with Josie, the redheaded libertarian, and talking politics and bourbon. That conversation is going to exclusively first come out to members of lookunfiltered.com, just like our stakeout that just came out. And that's one of many videos, thousands of videos, 12 years of videos that I've been releasing just for members of lookunfiltered.com, specifically giving you the kind of insider access that no one else gets, as well as one-on-one communication as we center our memberships towards making you the strongest, most amazing version of yourself. So sign up to lookunfiltered.com. It's cheap, it's quick, it's easy, it's efficient. Click the link down in the description below, sign up, and I will see you there right after this particular broadcast, as clearly we had our own battles with the intel agencies ourselves, and I kind of sympathize with what has been going on with Donald Trump, as Politico has this article saying how U.S. allies may try to safeguard their intel ops from Trump. Because when Trump was campaigning, let's not forget, there was multiple intel agencies, bureaucrats, government officials saying, yeah, we gotta prepare for when he wins, to sabotage him, to make sure that he can't implement his agenda, to make sure that he doesn't get the right amount of information. And if you think that's not happening right now, you're fooling yourself. As of course, we were promised the Epstein client list, and all we're getting right now is some people coming forward saying, yeah, the FBI is deleting some files regarding that. That's what we're getting. So you're telling me that you think everything's hunky-dory within the White House right now? No, there are probably internal power struggles that we can't even fathom or imagine going on right now between the CIA, the FBI, the DHS, and all of these other larger departments that are, of course, at odds with Donald Trump because they are ideologically opposed to each other. And that's why Tulsi Gabbard announcing this larger firing is significant, because we're going to have a portion of these intel agencies that would have been Trump's major chief opponents gone, fired, meaning that the possibility of the intel agencies actually being there to actually serve the president of the United States is a lot more probable than people that, of course, who would lie to him. As we have to remember, top U.S. government officials connected to the intel agencies, connected to the Pentagon, lied about the number of troop levels in Syria to Donald Trump. Trump was like, hey, how many troops we got there? If it's too many, we got to get them out. They came and they're like, I'm just going to lie to this MFer. What? You're lying to the president of the United States, which they brazenly did, and they got away with it. As, of course, that was one thing. There were many, trust me, and I know some of the stories behind the scenes here. There were many instances where Donald Trump was just flat out lied to, denied information, told he couldn't do stuff. Now he understands. I could have done it all along. I was played like a fool. I was lied to. He tried to placate the military-industrial complex. He launched strikes into Syria, which were a larger kind of wag the dog moment, which had the corporate media cheering him as being actually a first time an action that it was, quote, presidential. There was mainstream media representatives that were literally crying tears of joy as rockets were flying and going into Syria. Luckily, Trump just bombed an abandoned kind of airfield and told the Syrians beforehand that he was doing that, not to the chagrin of the intel agencies that weren't happy about this, and came to him, and this is according to Julian Assange, this is according to WikiLeaks, this is according to all the sources he has. Intel agencies came to Trump saying, yeah, we're going to overthrow the Syrian government. Trump said, no, you're not. I'm gonna actually go after the bad guys there. And then the CIA is like, oh, those are our guys, sir. We financed them. We gave them our weapons. We kind of let them take all the stuff from Iraq. We kind of, been building this. This kind of has been our plan since the Iraq War. Since we need someone to take out the democratically elected political leadership in the region. We need someone to kick up the beehive here. And the president's like, no, these guys are creating global terrorism. We got to get rid of them. And then he launched military strikes that were very successful and really did piss off the intel agencies. And that's why you saw the intel agencies literally go into Syria and overthrow that government right before Donald Trump took political office, because they knew once he took political office, their larger kind of goals and aspiration in the region would never be met. They were met and they were rushed, and they happened as now, when Pentagon officials were lying to Trump, now they're getting fired, as the Pentagon has already laid off 5,400 civilian workers, with tens of thousands more firings due. Now, who's going to be fired? I hope the people who lie to Donald Trump are going to be fired. And let's just be honest here. A lot of those people are ideologically opposed to him. A lot of those people are woke. A lot of those people are liberals. A lot of those people are, predominantly, not always, there's always exceptions to the rules, but a lot of them are the kind of freaky people that would, on a government chat room, talk about all their larger kinks and weird stuff that they are a part of. I have this article from Brookings all the way back in 2017 saying how Trump's attack on the intel agency community will come back to haunt him. What do they mean by that? Well, Chuck Schumer said it perfectly here on MSDNC, as Donald Trump calls it, as the network is firing a lot of their top anchors left and right. But when Chuck Schumer said this, it did highlight exactly what happened here, and more importantly, what happened afterwards, especially with the lost election, especially with what happened on J6, especially what happened with the government spying on Trump, raiding his home, making him face 700 years in jail, making him a convicted felon, and shooting at him. Why did they do that? I think Chuck Schumer surmised it perfectly many, many years ago when Trump was president for the first time around, as this was the threat that he levied against him. And let's be honest here, the intel agencies made good on that threat. And these senators, whether it's Schumer or Pelosi, these are the people connected to the intel agencies more than any other kind of group of people, as they represent the swamp. They represent the people that carry out the orders for the intel agencies. Here's what he had to say.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were motivated?
I don't know.
Exactly what they did afterwards. Exactly what they did. They would lie about Russian collusion. They would set him up. They would go to people like Epstein and say, hey, give us dirt on Trump and we'll let you go. Trump's own DOJ did that. Trump's own government did that. That's how brazen, that's how big the swamp was. And this is why Trump is frantically working right now to fire as many people as possible, because he understands there's still people within the government that are going to try to undermine him, that are going to try to destroy him, that are going to try to, of course, do everything in their power to take out his political will. And will they be successful? Well, they won't, especially if Donald Trump releases the Epstein client list, which he needs to do immediately. Pam Bondi, the attorney general, says it's literally on her desk. Trump needs to release it because this is a larger conflict here that involves a lot of people. A lot of those people have a lot of compromise on them, and they're working on behalf of the intel agencies. You get rid of this kind of intel agency army by getting rid of this Epstein client list and actually getting it out there to the general public. Again, Trump is banning now intel officials who push this Russian collusion, disinformation hoax that started all the way back from the start of his presidency. We were called Russian assets by the Washington Post, the newspaper of the intel agencies. So many of these individuals are connected to so many sinister type of larger efforts here that now, if you're looking from the outside, even if you're not politically savvy, after watching this video, you could understand, yeah, I could see why Trump's firing a lot of them. I can see, because it's sink or swim now. Trump understands, hey, if I don't fire these guys, they're going to come after me. They're going to try to take everything from me. It's not just efficiency that we're getting here with Deutsche here. It's not just honesty. It's not just getting rid of the corruption, the fraud, the waste here. This is far bigger than what a lot of people understand it to be. Now, of course, Trump isn't perfect. I don't agree with some of his policies. I don't think they're the best policies as well. But let's be honest here. If there ever was anyone that the intel agencies were really pissed at, it's him. When he first ran, he was talking about literally looking into the event that happened in New York in 2001. He was talking about auditing the Federal Reserve. He was talking about releasing the JFK files. He didn't deliver. This time around, he's delivering. And even though we still haven't gotten some of the documents, there's too much public pressure on this. There's too much attention. There's too many people talking right now saying, yeah, if you don't release this, we're not going to trust anything or anyone until you do. And there's the vast majority of the American people that are now understanding, whoa, this is how the government operates? This is how much fraud, waste, and abuse they have? This is how much evil they were able to get away with, they were able to perpetrate. And that ends right now, and it hopefully will end with the intel agencies being held accountable for their larger actions. And I think this year, and I'm being very optimistic, and this is just my own personal kind of wish. This is just my own personal thing that I'm trying to, like, I hate the word manifest, but create and just to see through and just to kind of visualize and just to kind of hope for myself. I think this year we will have the unraveling of a lot of these intel agencies, because people will see just how absolutely evil and awful they have been. As of course, we've been talking about that for 21 years here as an independent media organization, and we dealt with a lot of bullcrap. We were also thrown in jail 7 times. IRS went after me last year. We had a lot of threats. We had a lot of harassments. We had a lot of intimidation efforts. I had people literally be like, "Oh, we're going to set you up. We're going to put you in jail if you don't stop doing this. Stop doing what you're doing." Hell no, I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping because I got your support here on LukeUnfiltered.com. Trust me when I tell you, there was many moments and times where they almost took us out. Many instances where it was extremely difficult to survive, including even last year. The only reason I survived, the only reason I'm here, the only reason I was able to continue my work, the work that I did confronting all these politicians, going to Epstein Island, doing all the war reporting and protest reporting, I want to do more of that. And I can only do that with your support. LukeUnfiltered.com is the way to do it. 20 cents a day. It's cheap, it's quick, it's easy and effective, and it means the world to us. And we promise and we pledge whatever we get, we will spend fighting this larger information war as best as possibly we can. And we're going to go out there and we're going to do on-the-ground reporting, and we're going to be there when news breaks. That's our goal for this year. We could do it if enough of you guys sign up. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.